Are you struggling to come up with original content week in and week out? Start a podcast. Interview your ideal clients, let them talk about what they care about most, and never run out of content ideas again. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to B2B Growth, a daily podcast for B2B leaders. We've interviewed names you've probably heard before, like Gary Vaynerchuk and Simon Sinek, but you've probably never heard from the majority of our guests. That's because the bulk of our interviews aren't with professional speakers and authors. Most of our guests are in the trenches leading sales and marketing teams. They're implementing strategy. They're experimenting with tactics. They're building the fastest growing B2B companies in the world. My name is James Carberry. I'm the founder of Sweetfish Media, a podcast agency for B2B brands, and I'm also one of the co-hosts of this show. When we're not interviewing sales and marketing leaders, you'll hear stories from behind the scenes of our own business. We'll share the ups and downs of our journey as we attempt to take over the world. Just kidding. Well, maybe. Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to B2B Growth. I'm Logan Lyles with Sweetfish Media. I'm joined today by Randy Ksar. He's the Senior Social Media Manager over at 8x8 and host of the Communications Transformed podcast. Randy, how's it going today, man?
It's going great, man. It's a great day. Happy to be here.
Lucky enough to chat with you on your birthday. This will be going live a little bit after that, but another good day coming up on the calendar, Small Business Saturday. So we're going to be talking about 5 specific marketing tips for small businesses as we gear up for Small Business Saturday. Before we get into those tips, though, I would love for you to share with listeners a little bit more about yourself, and for those who aren't familiar, what you and the team at 8x8 are up to these days.
Yeah, thanks. So again, my name is Randy Ksar, and I'm based here in San Jose, California, and I work at a company called 8x8. And we're a SaaS provider of voice, video, chat, contact center, and enterprise API solutions and it's really helping businesses of any size with their communications. And so I'm in a role where I focus a lot on our customers as well as our prospects on what's happening from a business communication standpoint, from a trending perspective. And so what I've done is talk to a few experts, people that I know, as well as some of my contacts that have referred me. And we've gathered these tips for Small Business Saturday, which is happening on November 30th. And I'm excited to share those with you.
Awesome, man. Well, let's dive right into those. The first I know is one that was shared with you specifically around email marketing. You know, some people say, email is dead. I tend to disagree with that because I'm in my inbox all day, every day. And while you have to compete there are some things that you can do to leverage the attention that is still on email. So tell us a little bit about your tip when it comes to email for small business, Randy.
Yeah, so my buddy Lucas over at Ellie Mae, he's the director of marketing communications. I used to work with him at Visa. And he really wanted to share a tip around, although social media marketing is important for small businesses, email marketing, what he says is the gift that keeps on giving and should be a key component for any small business's marketing efforts. So by capturing an email, right, which, you know, you go to sign up for a newsletter, you sign up for, whether you purchase something and you kind of opt in, that's really where the relationships start, especially from a digital standpoint. Or if you're in store and you want to sign up as you're checking out to be on the list for discounts or events that they're happening. He was telling us about, he lives over here in the East Bay, over in the San Francisco Bay Area, in this local wine tasting room. He says does a good job of alerting him to new releases, especially events and other promotions that keep him coming back, and really drives kind of his reason why he would go from that particular store to another wine store. So it's definitely, as he says, a win-win, or better yet, a wine for both. So exactly. So we can throw in a little pun there, but I think that's true in that email is definitely almost in a way that handwriting is a lost art. Email sometimes is often forgotten when you're thinking about social media marketing and just kind of getting the word out.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been actually focused on this and just growing this show and other podcasts, looking at how can we capture emails and how can we use that as a regular engagement tool. It seems like, it should just be table stakes, but it's almost becoming a little bit of a lost art as we focus on other channels. So coming back to that for the wine, good dad joke, good pun is always fair game, in my opinion. Randy,
So
let's talk about the next one. This is another one where I've seen people say, well, it's dead. It's already declining. We haven't even touched it yet. And that's influencer marketing. Tell us a little bit about the tip that you've gathered on this point specifically for Small Business Saturday, Randy.
Sure. So I talked to Neil Schaefer, and he's a buddy of mine, social media consultant. He's a speaker, and he's coming out with a cool book called The Business of Influence. And what he talked to me about is influencer marketing, especially for small businesses. When you think of influencer marketing, you think of really high budget type of projects and campaigns. But really, what small business can leverage is search, right? So search within LinkedIn, within Instagram, or heck, even Twitter, is a publicly available tool and public data that's out there. So an easy thing that he says for small businesses that they can do is look for either people or perhaps a particular target audience or a particular interest that your business has, and reach out to certain people on each of those different networks and either offer them either a freebie, if you will, to use your product, or perhaps maybe they can write about your product in either a social mention or a review that can go up on their blog. So it's really less about kind of that one-time offer from an influencer standpoint, because right, influencers, they love working with businesses. I mean, that's what they're trying to make a living on, but they also like the long-term relationships. So not only can they start talking about your business, but they can become a really valuable user and consumer to give you feedback on how the product is and kind of what the latest trends are from the personas that you're trying to reach.
I love the two things you were saying there, Randy. One, don't think about influencer marketing as this one and done. And two, you don't need a huge name, an NBA star, a celebrity, a Kardashian,
Exactly.
in order to have an influencer marketing campaign. You just need to find the people who have an audience with the folks that you're trying to reach, or there's that overlap between the typical interests of your buyer personas and the interest and the following that this influencer may have. So let's go from there and talk about something you mentioned earlier in Google My Business, that something might not even be on a business leader's or a marketing leader's radar for their small business.
Yeah, so this is a great tool that's essentially free to use, right? And what Google My Business is that when users are searching for you on Google Maps or Google Search, you have an opportunity to claim that search. It appears either within this Google Maps search results or within the search results on the right-hand side. And it's a way to not only offer kind of general information about your business, but also an offer. Right? So I talked to my coworker, actually, Kent. He's an SEO manager here at 8x8. And he was saying, the behavior of consumers is changing every day as we use our smartphones and become ubiquitous. And one of the things that he mentions is Google My Business has become the go-to for most consumers looking to find a business location, a phone number, or a website. So say you're looking for a phone number of a nail salon or perhaps a phone number of a car parts store or something like that. That's where you're going to get the information, right? And so business owners now have the flexibility to really optimize and personalize that business listing within organic search, right? So it's not a paid search opportunity there. And it's a great way to proactively manage your listing. So by adding, Ken was saying, you can add hours of operation. You can actually post your pictures of your business, whether it's the inside or the outside, or maybe your employees. And you can also make products available as an offer. So you can do status updates. So that's something that people will see when they're looking at your listings across Google My Business.
Yeah, definitely. The more that you can put in there, the more that you're going to be visible, because you talk about, doing search quickly from our phones. The other thing is, looking at the proliferation of smart speakers. A lot of folks are using Alexa to search. A lot of folks like me are using Google's products, from their assistant to their home, or the Home Mini. I guess it's now the Nest Mini. And they rebrand there, but you want to be discoverable on all of those platforms, including that audio search. And then what do they see? Is there a lot of information that makes it easy, or do they not see a lot and then they're on to that next listing? So really great advice there. So you were talking about, there's benefits outside of paid search just with your organic visibility with Google My Business, but there is some ways to leverage paid search with Google My Business as well. So let's kind of take it to the next step there, Randy.
So I was talking to my contact, George, over at Digital Third Coast over in Chicago. And he was saying that if you're a local small business, and you should be looking at the Google My Business metrics. So Google My Business gives you metrics in terms of who's looking at your profile, how many people have looked at your photos, how many people have clicked on your offers. So there's a lot of great metrics there. And it really should be matched up in terms of building your brand with paid media. So what they've seen is substantial jumps in direct searches in Google My Business after running search campaigns and YouTube campaigns for local businesses. So with reporting being flawed due to device switching, discovery on mobile, action on the desktop, you can easily make bad calls if you're too siloed in your data analysis. So your customers don't experience your brand in silos. So look at it from a kind of a full picture perspective before you determine the effectiveness of your PPC account.
Oh man, that's really good advice. We were just had on Rambod with Hawk SEM, and one of his 5 PPC fails was about that reporting, not looking at the whole picture. So you bringing it back there just kind of reinforces the importance of that, especially within this context too, Randy. For today's growth story, we'll be talking about Clear Company, a fast-growing talent management platform. Clear Company was acquiring a decent number of users, but they weren't happy with their organic traffic or conversions. Clear Company turned to Directive, the B2B search marketing agency, to help increase their overall search visibility for core keywords in order to drive more organic traffic and bottom-of-the-funnel leads. After identifying the core target keyword and analyzing the first page of Google results, Directive executed a content and digital PR strategy to rank Clear Company number 1 on the first page of Google for the high intent keyword. In just 5 months, that one piece of content generated 27 demo requests and 1,902 referring domains, an all-time high for Clear Company. If you're looking for results like this with your search engine marketing, there's a good chance Directive can help. Visit directiveconsulting.com and get a free customized proposal. All right, let's get back to the show. Your 5th and final tip actually comes from a friend of ours, mutual friend Ethan Butte over at BombBomb, right? And not surprisingly, coming from him, having sent thousands of videos and the expertise they have in using video for business over at BombBomb, would love to hear what you and Ethan were talking about here recently.
So he had a great video on LinkedIn, and it was really about that. For most people, when they think of video, they get starstruck. The lights are shining on them, and they kind of just close, right? Their arms are crossed and they don't think that they're the right person for video. But what Ethan says is that video can be used in any form, right? It doesn't need to be a full-on production. So it's just a simple medium for your message. So anything that you type up and send or publish can actually be delivered in a simple personal video. So whether you have just a simple webcam, say you have a MacBook Pro, or maybe your smartphone, it's really an easy way to communicate to the people that matter to you in your business. And I think that's super key. So that video can go in emails, as we talked about before, maybe text messages if you have that type of technology to reach out to your customers, or maybe even social messages. We've seen that LinkedIn and Facebook, the native video on there is really a way to keep people on their network. And video is definitely key to that. And so I think Ethan is a great suggestion on don't discount video just because you're not the face for video. It's like, it's an easy way. Record 15 to 30 seconds, who you are, what your business does. And that can easily be as a selling point to create those relationships, to bring people into the store, especially from a digital to kind of in-store standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes off of what you were talking about earlier in the 3rd tip about Google My Business and having something there for people to interact with, not only to answer their questions, but the video, it might be to answer their questions, but it also might be simply to humanize your brand, right? And give them a face to that logo, to the people behind it, as you mentioned before, maybe featuring some of your employees, your team members. Let them know what it's going to be like if they step into your store or if they start engaging with your business, if you're B2B, whatever the case might be. So I agree with that. I saw Ethan's video about, I'm quote unquote not a video person, and how you can get beyond that, how you can realize the myth that's there. So he dispelled that really well. I think one of the things he said is, if you are a a kind, thoughtful, professional person in real life, then you can be that on video. It just takes a little bit of practice to get comfortable there. And obviously that's there, but by not doing it, you're definitely leaving a lot on the table that you could communicate and share your best asset, which is yourself and your team that you've put together to serve your customers. So I love rounding it out with that tip and echoing what Ethan shared on LinkedIn recently, Randy. All right. Well, Randy, I really appreciate the tips that you shared today. Some thoughts on not leaving email out of your mix, influencer marketing for small business, a couple of tips on Google My Business, both organic and search, and thinking about creative ways you can use video, either within Google My Business, with your text engagement platform, with email, a lot of different ways you can use video outside of, that one paid ad that you paid $25,000 for to have post-produced that one time with simple personal videos. If people listening to this, Randy, would like to learn more about 8x8, stay connected with you, subscribe to your podcast on the topic of communications, what's the best way for them to find you guys or reach out to you personally?
Yeah, so we gathered all these tips on our blog, and we have some more related to small businesses. So definitely check out our blog at 8x8.com/blog. And then we also, speaking of video, we have a new product that we just launched that really focuses around the video meetings experience. So for any small business, whether entrepreneur or even a large size business, we have a video product that's for free, that's limitless in terms of minutes. And it's something that you can easily connect with your customers or vendors or prospects. So that is, if you go to our website, 8x8.com, you'll see 8x8 video meetings there for you guys to try out. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how Small Business Saturday comes about. I will be definitely checking out a couple small businesses myself and actually going into the store. There's one that I go to that it's more of a home interior decorating store that has a kind of a Hawaiian flair to it. So I love that store. And then, of course, a couple restaurants on that Saturday. So definitely I look forward to kind of hearing what everybody else is doing on Small Business Saturday.
I love it, man. Randy, always great to chat with you. Thanks again for being a guest on the show today, man.
You're welcome. Thanks.
We totally get it. We publish a ton of content on this podcast, and it can be a lot to keep up with. That's why we've started the B2B Growth Big Three, a no-fluff email that boils down our 3 biggest takeaways from an entire week of episodes. Sign up today at sweetfishmedia.com/big3. That's sweetfishmedia.com/big3.